Hi, Professor. So based on your feedback, we have adjusted the regression lines using by fixing some of the bugs which we had in our code. Other than that, we also going with the big story here. So as you can see, so this is our entire project. Here we can select. So if you want to select age with age, so what's the potential, and then what's the wage, what's the value, what are the reactions, so what's the vision, or what's the balance from that. So from the balance I can go to acceleration I can go to stamina I can go to vision, and I can come back to weight. So from balance to see if weight is possible, and what kind of relation is that, and then height. So this is a bigger path than the previous video which we have made. Here you can also select body type, preferred foot, position. So this is one of the bigger parts. And from this, what our templating engine will do, or what our text generation engine will do, it will search for important, interesting stories from among these variables, and it will only display those, and to make the story more engaging for the user, not displaying simply all the information to the user. We want to display the important information so that the flow of the movie is engaging. So let's go ahead with that. So it's generating the movie, taking into account the important variables, important information based on the correlation attributes, as well as the text generation, how much text is being generated for each kind of paragraphs. So on that kind of scenarios we're taking into account. So now let's see the speaking.
American football evolved from soccer and rugby. Normally the football players have an average 65 acceleration and possess an average 64 balance. Observe that as acceleration decreases, balance decreases. Anyway, there are some
You can
players who
see
even
here
with
that we are now
46.0
highlighting the
acceleration
words
have
as the
77
speaking is going
balance.
on, and
Strange, right?
also we are highlighting
Tiago
the
S.A. and
outer
Jay Granlund are some of
outliers
the
here.
outliers.
So now in this
American
graph, if
football
you can
evolved
see,
from soccer and
we're
rugby.
highlighting the
Normally the
median
football
or
players have an
average
average
values,
65
so that the
acceleration and
user
have
can
27
actually
as the
see
position.
the
What's more interesting is as acceleration increases, position increases. But there are some odd players with 91.0 acceleration that have a surprising 4 position. For example, Tiangian and FKIP belong to that category. The Pittsburgh Steelers have the most Super Bowl wins. Many players who play football have an average 65 acceleration and will have an average 64 stamina. What's more interesting is as acceleration increases, stamina increases. You would be surprised to know this. There are some players who even with 23.0 acceleration have 44 stamina. Strange, right? P. Saliban and R. Gilmerton are some of the outliers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have the most Super Bowl wins. Many players who play football possess an average 65 acceleration and have an average 54 vision. Observe that as acceleration decreases, vision decreases. Anyway, there are some players who even with 36.0 acceleration have 81 vision. For instance, M. Noble and K. Politz are some of the outliers. The NFL governs professional play in the United States. Normally players have an average 65 acceleration and possess an average 166 weight. What's more interesting is as acceleration increases, weight decreases. But there are some odd players with 16.0 acceleration that have a surprising 170 weight. Strange, right? S. Abdullahi and R. Duffy belong to that category. American football evolved from soccer and rugby. Normally the football players possess an average 26 age and will have an average 72 potential. As you can see from the above graph, as age increases, potential decreases. Anyway, there are some players who even with 37H have 68 potential. For example, Juan Fran and M. McNulty belong to that category. The NFL governs professional play in the United States. Normally players have an average 64 balance and will have an average 6 height. As you can see from the above graph, as balance decreases, height increases. You would be surprised to know this. There are some players who even with 48.0 balance have 6 height. For example, C's Lamal and EOS 8B belong to that category. The NFL governs professional play in the United States. Normally players possess an average 64 balance and have 20 as the position. What's more interesting is as balance increases, position increases. However, there are some players who even with 93.0 balance have a surprising 13 position. For example, S. Rebus and J. Grott belong to that category. American football evolved from soccer and rugby. Normally the football players you know have a mean 64 balance and possess a mean 64 stamina. What's more interesting is as balance increases, stamina increases.